Hey y'all, Ms. B. And excuse me about my voice. It might go in and out. I feel like I'm coming down with something, but anyway, we're gonna push through this thing and get into the Real Housewives of Atlanta, the Sweet 16 season, episode 2 called Hot Dogs and Hot Mics. So the episode picks up where we left off with Shamea asking, Drew, excuse my voice. Drew, if her and Dennis are dating. Drew's like, no, what? Drew is so, what's the word I'm looking for? She's so extra. She's so performative. Drew just gets on my nerves. Like, it gets on my nerves or whatever. And then Shamea's like trying to explain, like, girl, I'm asking you this because people have been telling me, like, three people have told me. She pulls out her phone showing pictures. She said, yeah, y'all be in a club, with matching pajamas. Everybody's like, matching pajamas? Like, what is this, 1995? Like, why are y'all in the club with matching pajamas? And then they show a clip of Cynthia said, Cynthia in her wig. Girl, this wig, the wig, I saw a meme on Instagram with them comparing Cynthia's confessional wig to, what's that dang Disney movie? I forgot, but y'all can look it up and see. And then Drew goes on trying to tell Portia was going in on Drew, trying to tell her, I tried to talk to you. Said Portia was like, no, you didn't. And then Portia was saying, yeah, I was invited to your party by Dennis. And I didn't go because I had already took my makeup off and stuff. But I saw the next day the picture you posted and you look washed. She's like, everybody's like, washed? Like, dang, like Portia going in. And she was like, I'm not saying washed up, but like, she's like, didn't look like yourself. And she was saying how, she not talking about her looks per se. Because Drew was like, I didn't have any makeup on. And she was like, nah, I'm not talking about her looks. Like, she looks stressed out. Like, going through a divorce is stressful. And everybody was like, okay, they get it or whatever. And then Portia says, she reached out to Drew the next day to see if she was okay and whatever. And then at one point in time, Portia called to see something, talk to Dennis about something. He brought up Drew. Dennis brought up Drew or whatever. So Cynthia asked Portia if she knew that they were working together. And then Britt kind of chimes in on the side. She's like, I didn't know Dennis did music. And everybody was like, well, ain't know. Nobody knew. So, like I said, Shamea shows Drew the picture of them in the club or whatever. And she's still like, oh my God, no. He's like, no, he's like the angel, my angel on earth, like sent from above, angel from heaven. Oh, no. And Portia and Shamea looking like, what? He's my brother. Like, you don't understand. It's not what you're thinking. Like, he loves you and the songs are about you, Portia. Listen to, girl. Drew was getting on my nerves. And then Drew goes into the story about how her and Dennis started working together. She opened up for Tamar Braxton. And then he did a professional pitch saying he want to work with her. And again, he's my angel on earth. And she's just got a lot going on and he's helping her. Angela Oakley chimes in. I was like, Drew, girl, that don't sound good or whatever. We're going to get to Angela Oakley later. I don't really like her either. Yeah, and so in the confessional, it's funny. I'm starting to like Kelly a lot. In the confessional, Kelly was like, "Girl, if you don't tell this girl, tell Portia, cause we know how Portia get down. Okay, let's not forget how she drugged Kenya that year at the reunion when they had the altercation." She said, if Kelly was like, girl, if you don't tell this girl you ain't slept with this man, for she be about to hop over here on this side of the sofa. I was cracking up on that. Drew's is going on her explanation and blah, blah, blah. Portia tells Drew she didn't do nothing but try to help her. And I remember like the first couple of seasons that Drew was on here, her wigs were horrible. So when Portia said that, she was like, I was trying to help you with your hair. That's why I put you on Go Naked, be an ambassador for Go Naked. And I was like, that makes sense. Like, now it makes sense, like, why she became Go Naked ambassador or whatever. But Portia was trying to help her, like, with her looks and her wig, because I remember her wig used to be horrible. I remember that. So then after that, Portia asked the producer, can she break because she kept going on like, you know what you did. You know what you're trying to do, whatever. Drew was like, what are you talking about? What did I do? Oh my God. She's so dramatic. Oh my God. So performative. And Portia was asked the producer, can I break the fourth? And she said, is a producer in here? He was like, yeah. She was like, can I break the fourth wall? He was like, break it. So she broke it. She said, Porsha tells her, you are effing wrong for what you did. And she says, you have been trying to go behind my back and film with Dennis without me knowing. And Drew's like, no, I did not. I did not try to film it. Dennis like, what are you talking about? She's like, yes, you did. Jules is like acting and putting on and lying and just carrying on and on and on. Even when Cynthia goes, they talk about, sure, back to Cynthia's confession on her horrible wig of, Drew has a pattern of lying. I also want to say, I remember when Drew worked with Candace on Potomac, and I remember at the reunion, Andy asked Candace, like, would you ever work with Drew anymore? And she was like, no, I don't like the way she moves, way she handle business. So this is like a pattern for Drew. And so anyway, Porsha gets upset. She's still upset. It's a lot of back and forth. There's a lot of this and a lot of that. And then in Porsha's confession, the producer asked her, like, are you mad with Drew because you actually still care about Dennis? And she's like, no, how many times I gotta tell y'all? And they recap how many times she's repeated and told her why she's mad at Drew trying to film with her baby daddy without her permission, or telling her, at least her letting her know. Like, nobody was telling her, like, why are you trying to film with my baby daddy? And then Kenya kind of chimes in on the side and was like, but Porsha, you a married woman. Porsha didn't hear Kenya. You a married woman, like, why would it care? And then Porsha calls Drew a slimy bitch. I was like, dang, Porsha, like, you giving her all the smoke. And then it starts to get kind of confusing, like, okay, Porsha, are you mad about the Go Naked Hair? Because Drew was trying to get the producers to do a production for Go Naked Hair without Porsha's knowledge. It's like, are you effing insane? This is my business. All you're supposed to do is wear the wig, put the wig on your head and go on and take pictures. Like, we don't need you. I didn't need you to do that for me. This is my business. And everybody's kind of confused. Like, is it about Dennis or is it about the hair? I kind of was confused. I was like, Porsha, you mad because she want to film with your baby daddy? I could get too mad about the business part too, but like, why you so extremely upset about what's going on? Is it Drew or is it the hair? Like, nobody knows. And then everybody kind of, like, at this point Shamil's like, can we go eat cake? Like that's enough of this. It's my birthday. I want to eat cake. She already told us she didn't get to have a birthday last year because of the baby. And then everybody gets in the pool and get bubbles and everybody jumping in the pool. Then we go to the Oakleys. And I want to say Charles Oakley, they said he was like a hole in the NBA. I think to the fact where he can't even go into, like, he's banned for life from going to Madison Square Garden. They have this whole kitchen scene and he just being just an asshole the whole time. He don't want no white wine. I only drink white wine in my mind of the country. He cooking meanwhile. He's like, the kitchen was dirty last night. He just angry and grouchy. Just, I don't want that. I don't like this. He banging dishes. They trying to talk. And come, Angela Oakley, she don't fit. I mean, I would say, based on her 90s nose, her nose job is so 90s. It does this. Remember everybody in the 90s had their nose jobs like this? I was like, oh my God, like her nose. But he's grouchy. He don't want no wine. The kitchen was dirty. And they have 4 kids. And Angela owns some financial company. And she flips houses. And that's basically, honestly, the Oakleys. I wasn't really impressed by their story. I didn't really care about it. Felt like a filler scene. It was really kind of boring. Honestly, this whole episode was very mid. It was very mid. I was so excited last week. And I'm like, this episode, I was like, it was kind of mid. So then the next scene is Porsha pulls up. Kenya and Porsha pull up to meet up for dinner. Kenya pulls up in her Rolls Royce that she purchased in 2022. Porsha pulls up in her Rolls Royce, the one that Simon gifted her. And the producers are so shady for putting it at the bottom of the screen. And so they sit down and eat, and then they, recap over the years how Kenya and Portia never got along. They showed different scenes, but I was hoping that it was gonna show. They did show the one by Portia, by Ashley, this and that and that. I was like, oh, they're gonna show that the reunion when Portia drugged the heck out of Kenya on that floor, but they didn't do that. But Portia was like, we older now, kids changed us, like, let's move on. They get to talk about Dennis and Drew again. Then Portia tells us, like, she's, her and Dennis have a good co-parenting relationship. She don't want anything to jeopardize that. She said, if everything is good, long as he not Dennis the menace and I'm not Petty P, because when it gets like that, then it's all bad. They show Portia, they show the scene where when Portia had that show with her family or whatever, when they was in Mexico, when she was about to beat up Dennis' mama, that showed it was a horrible look for Portia. That show was a horrible look. So they show clips of that or whatever, basically her and Dennis' relationship. Kenya mentions to Portia, hey, I thought Simon took that Rolls Royce away from you. She's like, girl, like, he be doing the most. She was like, yes, like, how do I... Kenya's sentiments was my sentiments when Simon was on the internet. It was almost like, oh my God, get away from me with this Apollo. Like, every time I would go on Instagram, he was like trolling her. He wouldn't stop. Kenya was like, how do I click off these notifications? Like, how to get me out the group chat? Kenya's sentiments was everybody's sentiments was when Simon was all on the internet, like trolling and doing all that, completely harassing Portia at that point. Then Portia tells this story about, because Kenya was like, how did y'all get there? She was like, no, one time we was on a jet and it came real scared. Police were all around us. And he told me a story like one time he was in a stolen car and when you got a green car, you can have anything, against you. And Kenya was like, that's true. Then they started showing off Simon's fraud, credit card fraud, and all the stuff that we already know. Simon Guobadia. All the stuff that we already know about Simon Guobadia. And Kenya asked her, were you the fourth wife? She said, no, I was a fifth wife because he had a fake marriage. Portia, girl, you knew all the red flags were there. Why did you try to marry this man? What did you think you was getting into? Like, all the red flags were there. Did you not know this before or after y'all got married? Like, I mean, you're smart for doing a prenup, having 50% interest in the house. You could sell it now, do whatever you want to do with it because he's in ICE. But I mean, girl, like, what was you thinking was going to happen? Like, all the stuff that was coming out in the streets about Simon was all everywhere. Like, everybody knew it. So then they end the scene. They talk, kiki, whatever, in the scene now. Then we go into Kelly. We go to the scene with Kelly. She goes to look at this restaurant that's, I guess she wants to change into another Nana's, another waffle place or whatever. And she was saying, like, she had these different locations. Her ex-husband, or her husband she's divorcing, had actually shut down one of the restaurants. And, she wants to open another one up. And basically saying, she want to build generational wealth for her girls. She has four girls. And he only pays child support unless he's court ordered to, basically. So then the next scene, we go into Britt. We learn more about Britt. And I would say Britt and her husband, their whole kitchen scene was very weird. Was that a filler scene? I was not impressed by Britt's and her husband in that kitchen. And his face the whole time is like, why he always in negative? Anyway, the mother lives there. They're talking about houses, blah, blah, blah. Talking about a baby. He was like, yeah, see if we, throw it against the wall, see if it sticks. She's like, you can't throw a baby against the wall and see if it sticks. And then anyway, they're talking about different stuff. This house, renovations, blah, blah, blah. The mother living there. Then the mother comes in the kitchen. And she's like, oh, yes, Mom, we were talking about having a baby. He was like, allegedly. She said, don't say allegedly. And he was like, allegedly. With his face. Allegedly. So anyway, Mike's attitude, Britt's scene with that whole little scene, that kitchen scene, they could have kept that. And Mike is weird and negative. Like, even when they went down, like, they were left to go down to the sauna. And he was just sitting there in the kitchen like, I was like, okay. Anyway. So then we go to Shamea and the surrogate. I would say this was like a really touchy, like really emotional, sensitive scene to see, Shamea go see the surrogate who carried the baby that, has all the health issues. And then she found out that the surrogate found out that she had breast cancer while she was pregnant with Shamea's baby. Her name is Shadina. She was also Candy's surrogate as well for Blaze. So Shamea goes into like, how she did 7 rounds of IVF and how it was so horrible doing 4 shots in the morning, 4 shots in the evening. I've always heard IVF is very stressful, the hormones and everything. They have a conversation, they talk about, maybe it's kind of a good thing that she was pregnant, the surrogate Shadina, because she probably wouldn't be checking her breast like that. And then Shamea asked her, do you think the pregnancy and the hormones and stuff could have, caused the cancer or whatever? And, Shadina was like, we're not going to think about that. But Shamea lets us know that she wants to have more kids. She has 4 embryos, 2 girls and a boy. She also talks about how she had an ectopic pregnancy in January of 2024, just last year. So I really am praying for her that I like Shamea a lot. I noticed like before the show came out, Portia was all on the press run, and this week has been Shamea. She was on Entertainment Tonight, showing her house and everything. I really like Shamea, and I hope that God blesses them with another baby or whatever. So then the next scene, we go to Britt and Kelly. Britt comes over to Kelly's house with her dog. They sit on a sofa, Kiki and whatever. Britt asks, Kelly asks Britt if she is going to have a ceremony, because remember, I don't know if I said this already, Britt and Mike, her weird husband, got married during COVID. They didn't get to have a ceremony. They was already on Zoom. So she wants to have a ceremony, and they make a little joke throwing shade at Portia. Was like, are you going to be 3 hours late? And they got the Kiki and laughing about that, because they show, Portia arriving 3 hours late to Shamea's party, her best friend, and taking her shine and everything. But anyway. And then Kelly gets to talk about her ex-husband, or her husband she's divorcing again. And she said that was cheating. She said at one time he took all the money out of the bank account. One time she was out of the country on a vacation, and her accountant called her, was like, all the money's gone. Which I was thinking last week, some physical abuse was there. And she was, at one point she said she had to sleep in a closet. I was like, oh my goodness, not a closet. Like, it was that bad. Like, I'm glad she a divorce, because that sounded like that was like, and she said she put on to make it seem like it was the perfect family, but in actuality she was living in hell, essentially. So then the next thing, you have Drew and Angela and Shamea go work out. First, Drew and Angela are there, and Drew talks about why she's working with Dennis again. She was signing several different labels, and Drew's not understanding why Portia is so upset with her, yada, yada, yada. And she lets us know in her confessionals that Ralph has taken a lot of her money. He's asking for alimony and child support. I was like, okay, so he live in the basement. She live upstairs. The kids live there. Why would he have to pay child support? Why would she have to pay him child support? Like, Ralph, never liked Ralph. Him in Tampa. When he go back to Tampa. So then anyway, Shamea arrives, and I guess Angela Oakley wants a moment. Her and her nose wants a moment. And she was like, why you blurted that out at the party? And Shamea trying to talk to Shamea's trying to explain, I wanted to know, I wanted to ask those questions. She's like, you was being Portia's assistant. And then Angela, they show a scene where Shamea was like, Angela had asking me all these questions now, but at the party she was on mute. Other than the time when she said, Drew, you don't sound good for saying it, for the most part she was mute. But now she got all these questions for Shamea. And then they was kind of talking, going back and forth. Angela was being really shady, and then in this scene, Drew calls Shamea Portia's lapdog. I didn't like that. I feel like Shamea is a very good friend to Portia. Look how long they've been friends. I think me and Portia are literally almost the same age. And I can think about friends that I had in like around 1997 when they showed that picture. She's just a loyal, good friend. Find you one, Drew. And stop being shady and trying to film with this girl baby daddy behind her back. So that's kind of the scene, how the scene ended up with them at the gym or whatever. I really didn't like Angela Oakley and her nose getting on my nerves. And I didn't like the way Drew called Shamea Portia's lapdog. Yes, Drew has been playing the backfield. We all see that we see Shamea has been like playing the backfield for Portia all these years, but they're best friends, and her husband didn't want her on this show, so she did what she was doing. She was just being a supportive role. I don't think she's a lapdog. I ain't like that comment. And Drew, like I said, if you had some friends, maybe you wouldn't be trying to film with this girl baby daddy behind the scenes. Anyway, so then the final episode ends with Portia is at a play place with Pilar, PJ, and Dennis gets there. They sit down and get to talk about Drew again. He was like, you think I'm banging Drew, blah, blah, blah. She was like, well, why would you want to film with her? And Portia, and he was like, I mean, like, her album was going to come out, something, something, something. And then Portia gets emotional because what Dennis says, and goes to the bathroom, starts crying, and she's talking to the producers. She's like, he doesn't deserve my tears, and you know, this and that, and blah, blah, blah. So they go out, and then 20 minutes later, it shows them in a car together. I was like, they giving, like, they still go together. Like, that's probably, honestly, Portia, at first I was trying to, like, ride for you, like, you know, maybe you don't care about him filming with, you know, you're mad that Drew did it behind your back, but it seems like there's still some feelings there on both parties, on both sides. Because they get in the car, they have a hot mic moment. And he was like, you know there's going to be a hot mic. She said, you ought to know now. Yeah, you must be used to it now. And they just sitting there talking, and she drive and stop. And it was just the scene, the episode ended with them in the car and having a hot mic moment. Because she was like, at one point, she was like, it's going to be how it's going to look to your daughter. And I'm like, what? Do PJ watch The Housewives? Anyway, y'all, that's my recap. The episode weren't really giving. I would give it like a 5.5 out of 10 compared to last week's. I was so excited about last week's episode, but this week I'm like, is it gonna pick up? Was this a filler episode? It was giving real mid. Anyway, y'all, that is my recap of the Sweet 16 season, episode 2, hot mics and hot dogs. Like, comment. I'm glad I'm getting new subscribers now. Thank y'all who subscribed. Thank you. And continue to subscribe and continue to comment. I read your comments. They pop right up. I reply right away. And I will be back next week. I'm going to think about something else to talk about other than just Housewives. Because I'm only just doing Atlanta. I don't really watch, I barely watch Beverly Hills and stuff like that. But that's my recap, y'all. Hope y'all like it. And see y'all next time. I'm thinking about some other content to do. Maybe some hot topics. There's a lot of hot topics going on right now. So anyway, y'all have a good night. Bye.